concentrate on today are prior written knowledge, or prior knowledge, and vocabulary development. And those are two things that this whole program sees as being essential, that if you don't have some sort of prior knowledge, then kids are really at a disadvantage. And also vocabulary development. And you can get that through a series of different ways. Okay? Once the Wright family got on the road, Mother Wright wondered if she had left the stove on. Father Wright told her not to worry. He had checked the stove and she had not left it on.
With one hand.
Yeah,
I know it's candy, so it's probably getting you a little bit confused. So let's go to something that you're all more familiar with, since this is reading in the content area. Let's see how you're doing this. So this is called What is Your Scheme? If you want to go ahead and pass these down. And so all you need to do is read this paragraph and fill in the missing blanks. All right, here we go. The questions that poultrymen face as they raise chickens from incubation to adult life are not easy to answer. Both farmers and merchants, not fathers and mothers, can be concerned when health problems such as cocciditis arise at any time after the egg stage to later life. Experts recommend that young chicks, not children, should have plenty of sunshine and nutritious food for healthy growth. Manatees and geese, not boys and girls, should not share the same barnyard, not bed, or even sleep in the same roost. They may be afraid of the dark. So how do we do? I got the answer. Perfectly wrong.
Was the fifth one an early stage?
Pardon me? After the egg stage. Alright, so do you see, why are we having difficulty with this?
We didn't know what it was about.
You didn't know what it's about. So by having prior knowledge, if I had said this story is going to be dealing with dairy farming and poultry farming, then you would have known not to put farm children, fathers and mothers in those places. But how many of you put fathers and mothers instead of farmers and merchants? Okay? And this
might be something different.
I'm having a hard time figuring out what it might be.
Yeah.
So she's thinking, I'll show her, right?
Chickens and farmers.
And this is what's happening in the classroom with kids, is they don't come with that prior knowledge, and we give them an exercise like this, and we take that assumption that they know. All right? Similar to what goes through that green glass door. Anybody know yet what goes through that green glass door? Other than Sheila. So I said things like Pepper can go through, but not Salt. Eddie, but not Ed. Mommy, but not Dad.
Things with double letters.
Okay? Things with double letters. All right. A lot of people, Barb, don't see that until they have to see it in print. Hearing me say it is not enough. Because only about 3% of our population are strictly auditory learners. Okay? People mostly are a combination of something, and more likely they're visual learners as opposed to those auditory learners. I think most of us, when we went to school, we learned in an auditory fashion. Right? Your teacher stood in the front of the room, similar to what I'm doing right now, lectured, you took notes, you took a test, you passed it on Monday, and then by Tuesday, you lost the information. All right? So, think of how many kids are coming to us now, just for instance in math. We talked about when we went to school, we learned facts and families of facts. You know, the family has now changed. You know, family changes from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. You know, the family facts of 4 plus 3 plus 7 are now not 4 plus 3 plus 7 on Tuesday because they go to a step parent on Wednesday. So, what number is that? It doesn't fit 4 plus 3 and 7, or 7, 3, and 4. So these kids are really confused about how to put things into patterns and how to become strategic learners. In order to be able to read in that content area, it's critical to have that overall literacy. And we have a lot of kids, and we're seeing it in 6th grade. You think, how did they get this far? And they don't know how to read. right? They don't have a strategy for reading. And we're going to see later on in a short video that it's not that they don't read, because they do read. It's not that they don't read what we think they read, okay? But they do read, all right? Okay, how many of you read the newspaper daily? See a show of hands. Okay, probably actually none of you do. You just scan it. What do you read? You read what's important to you. Barb, am I right? Yep. Ryan, right? Right. We read what's important, and yet we want kids to read things, and yet you're only going to read what's important to them. So we have to find out what's important to them. Barb, I know you talked about the Spanish textbook adoption. What were they talking about? Letting kids use iPods, right? And no, our counties say no, don't let them do that. Just recently in the newspaper, there was an article about that very thing, and there was a Spanish teacher using iPods to teach Spanish, and she was sending the kids on an obstacle course throughout those, or like a scavenger hunt throughout the building to find things using iPods. The kids have them, let's let them use them. They have scientific calculators on it. All you do is turn it one way, it's a scientific calculator, the other way it's just a regular calculator. So, there's some legalities and logistics that we need to figure out about it, but we need to let those kids, figure out how we can be comfortable with that technology and let those kids use those tools without invading privacy and not having kids text when they shouldn't. But we know they're going to be kids that break the rules regardless. Okay? But look, what they need to read, and the kids can't read that. Okay? Those are everyday kind of things. This is about learning. This is one of the things that they're showing is that the traditional format of teaching a lesson is we used to do is we'd introduce the lesson and then afterwards ask all the questions. The new way of thinking about it is called front loading. Is do all of that at the front, and it's almost reversed. And then you ask the questions at the end, so that we make sure that kids know so that we can test and assess some of the prior knowledge that they already have. To look at kids in a different way. There's also some orange piece of paper up here about differentiated instruction. Sheila and I started on this committee several years ago, and just talking about different ways that you can differentiate your instruction to address the needs of students. I have packets if you're interested, or if you want me to come back and talk to you about it. Some simple things that you can do, not just to address kids that are on my rosters, but that kids that are in your classrooms, sometimes too, kids who are not good readers. It almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that, if they don't read well and we continue to tell them that they don't read well, then, they believe it.
Believe in me. Believe in my classmates.
Care about me.
Respect me.
Guide me.
Help me. When I do not understand, teach me another way.
Teach me to be more courageous. Give me another chance. Be patient with me. Please help me grow up. Encourage me.
Teach me to be a better person. Talk to me.
Please believe in